Hello. Yes, it works. Hello everyone, thanks for being here today. I must be honest, I've been giving this talk all around the world and never did it in a church, so I'm feeling a little bit the pressure, but we can make it. So today I will be talking again about social media protocols, starting from the traditional centralized social networks that we used on a daily basis, going forward with the decentralization spectrum, so understanding why decentralization matters and how the blockchain can help new social networks rising and being more in favor of users. So first of all, about me, I'm a software engineer and also a community builder. I've been building this community in Rome for 2 years, participating in 2 hackathons, creating multiple projects, especially in the social space. But yeah, so let's start. I will start with the Twitter example, which is the centralized social network by default, but it's just a placeholder that can be replaced by Meta, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, everything that we use that is being run by centralized companies. Then we will move forward to federated social networks like Mastodon, which somehow try to solve the issues that we find in examples like Twitter, with a federated approach. Then we have like some decentralized social network examples that are using peer-to-peer networks, so not blockchain but just distributed networks. And this of course is still like improving the openness of the network and protecting the user data, making it accessible also easier from different platforms. And finally, I will go through some example of social networks that are built with some blockchain components. So first of all, I have to say that centralization in general is not ideal, and in social networks in particular, I think it's a problem. So this list of things that you see here on the screen are like the basic components that are included in a social network. So the namespace is the list of like names, usernames that user can get. The network is the graph of connection between users, between posts, how like they are following each other. The database is the place where all this data is stored. The protocol is what defines how users can interact with each other. So if they can send direct messages, if they can comment, whatever. And the platform instead is like the application, the interfaces that you can use to interact with this protocol. So like I can use Twitter and post or like something. And finally, the rule set is what, for example, defines the feed that we are seeing, the content that we are seeing, or maybe the rules around what content is allowed, what not, why I should be suspended, why I should be banned. Everything that I mentioned so far is owned by the company. So in this case, there's Elon Musk here owning all these components on Twitter, and this means that he can change everything at his will. And this has been a problem in the past already. So when last year Twitter rebranded to X, what happened? That there was a guy owning the X handle, so the X username. And of course, once Twitter rebranded to X, they wanted to claim that handle so that it became the official account for the company. And they were able to do it because the database is owned by them, so they just needed to change a simple row on a database and claim the handle. Of course, like the guy wasn't happy about it, and he made like a big case, and in the end, like Twitter gifted him a Tesla car just for to replace for the gift. Another problem with social network, most important, like centralized ones, of course, is that they are walled garden. So imagine that I don't like Twitter anymore. I don't like the feed that Elon Musk decided me to follow, like why I'm seeing this content with respect to this other one. Maybe they are influencing me or other people. The same holds for Instagram, or think about TikTok, If I don't like it, what can I do? The only thing that I can do is deleting the app and moving into another social network. But it's a problem for me because if I build my reputation and my following on a specific social network, I cannot bring everything in another place. So if I like, if I'm using TikTok, I have a big account on TikTok, and at some point they decide to ban me, I have other options, of course, like YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. But to restart, I have to restart again. So if I decide to move on Instagram, I need to restart my following on content again. So it's a bad experience. That's why like we should strive and build more open protocols rather than closing ourselves into these locked platforms. But even though like open protocols are not immune to centralization, so a good example of open protocols is SMTP. SMTP is the protocol used to exchange emails. And as you can see, there are like many alternatives because SMTP is an open protocol, and so many different companies were able to integrate it so that in a way that if I have a Gmail account, I can still send you an email to your Libero or Yahoo or Outlook account, like whatever you're using. And the same holds for the browser. You can use Chrome, you can use Internet Explorer if you want to be slow, or you can use Safari. Everything is like that because they are built on open protocols. So, of course, they are still centralized somehow because in the end, most users end up, for example, in the case of emails, using Gmail. But the most important thing is that if I don't like Gmail, I can still use another client, so I can switch. Going forward on the spectrum, there's the Fediverse. So the most popular example of a federated social network is Mastodon. Does anybody here know about Mastodon already? Have you ever like used it? Okay, few people. So it's built on a protocol called ActivityPub, and basically imagine that in Twitter, for example, you have a single town hall, you have a single feed where everybody's posting, you know, on a centralized database. In Mastodon, you have multiple of these town halls because it's easier, it's actually like possible for other users, other people around the world to create their own server and host their community there. So each server has its own feed, and this, of course, gives more like freedom of speech because each server has their own rule. But at the same time, it has some drawbacks. So like these are the things that I like about the Fediverse, that you can move around different instances, different communities, and still be like free to like talk about whatever you want. It's under community control, and you can run your own server. What I don't like instead is that it's not so easy to host a server because you know it's technical stuff. So there are like some centralization tendencies because in the end, most users are ending up using the 3 or 4 most popular instances. So there's a big community for art, a big community for, I don't know, a server around dogs, for example. These instances, moreover, like they can't talk with each other. And in the end, there's a big privacy concerns because content is not end-to-end encrypted. And instead of giving your data to Twitter, or X in this case, which is a well-regulated and public company, you're giving your data to a random hobbyist around the world. So not only like you need to trust them, you also want them to be careful about where they store their data, if they are selling it, if they can be open to like data breaches, whatever. There are some examples that I won't cover here of decentralized protocols like Blue Sky or Nostr, which are like good alternatives to Mastodon in a federated environment. But let's move to the Web3 social. So social networks that are built with some on-chain components. The main examples that are live already that you can use today are Farcaster and Lens. They both integrate the blockchain in some ways. Lens protocol on one side, they post everything on the blockchain. So imagine every post, every like, every follow, all the interaction, they are posted on chain. And this is not very efficient because, as you know, like blockchain comes with gas fees. It's not like so fast to index data, but still, you know, data is there, it's decentralized, it's open, nobody can delete it. So if you have your following, you can use your identity around multiple client applications. So they had this protocol-first approach. They decided to first build the protocol and then involve developers, creating new applications, and hopefully bring in a community. Unfortunately, that didn't work well. While Farcaster has a much more pragmatic approach. Farcaster is sufficiently decentralized, so not everything is on chain, and that's more efficient. They had a product-first approach. So what they did is, let's start building a social network where people can engage. So they started with a crypto niche. They gathered like a bunch of thousands of users, and then they slowly decentralized the protocol, meaning that they slowly moved the key components of the social network on the blockchain, so that user data was like more portable, more protected, and they will keep like ownership of whatever they were doing. Again, not everything is on chain. The only thing that lives on chain on Farcaster is your identity. So your ID, your username is on chain, and nobody can revoke that for you because it's on chain on a smart contract tied to your wallet address. While, as we've seen with the Twitter case, the username, the ID, the identity is on a database, a centralized one that anybody in the Twitter company can edit. Sufficient decentralization, what does it mean? It's a concept that they created, so Varun, the co-founder, wrote about this in an article back in the days, a couple of years ago. A social network achieves sufficient decentralization if two users can find each other and communicate, even if the rest of the network wants to prevent it. What does it mean? Like, the most important thing for us in social network is around communication, so we want to use them to be in touch with each other, to communicate, to read stuff, to post messages, and the most important thing indeed is to avoid that somebody in the network can prevent us in doing so. In the case of Twitter, again, like Meta, Instagram, TikTok, if somebody wants to prevent me posting stuff, they can do it. In Farcaster, but also on Lens, it's not possible because the protocol is open, is decentralized, and so nobody can prevent me. There are like three key things to achieve this property. The first one is that I should be able to claim unique username. So if I am Limone.eth, nobody else should be able to claim that. So everybody is sure that this is my real identity. Then I always should be able to post messages with that username. So nobody should prevent me in posting messages to the network, either a post, like, whatever, with my username Limone.eth. And in the end, I should always be able to read messages with from valid username. So if there are other friends of mine that are posting on the network, I should always be able to read those messages. So nobody can prevent me in writing and reading content. How does it work? So you register your account with a wallet. It's also totally abstracted. There are some clients that allow you, some mobile application that allow you paying like some small fees to join the network with Apple Pay. So you don't need a wallet. You can like simply start using it. And this interaction is, of course, like registering a new identity and username on the smart contract. Then every time you're sending a message to the network, behind the scenes, this wallet is signing the message so that other people in the network can verify that it was you that actually published that message. This message, where is it going? So it's not going on chain, it's going on a distributed peer-to-peer network that is reaching consensus eventually. So as you know, there are like different consensus mechanisms in the blockchain space, like proof of work, proof of stake, and they are like very strict consensus mechanisms because it's important that consistency is shared out across the whole network. While in this peer-to-peer network, the most important thing is that in the end, the state of all these nodes, synchronizing and storing the data, it's synchronized. So if I'm posting now, it's not crucial to me that, I don't know, my friend can see it immediately. It's important that it's stored there and it's stored on multiple replicas, multiple databases. So if somebody wants to delete my message, there are still other peers that have that message available. And finally, there are multiple client tabs. So the cool thing about the centralized social network is that your identity lives on chain or on a centralized network. So developers can build multiple applications, TikTok-like, video-like, image-like, Twitter-like, so different experiences, but I can still log into these applications with my same account. So I can bring my identity, my following, my content all around. Yeah, so again, on-chain, that's only what's needed. The blockchain is not an efficient storage mechanism. So Farcaster uses smart contracts for crucial, secure and consistent operations, like creating an account, paying rent to store data, because in the end, like, of course, like to store data in a decentralized way, that there are like some incentives for people to do that. Oops, is it not working anymore? Yeah, it's stuck.
Il computer lì si è bloccato.
It's stuck. Yeah, I mean, I can continue anyways. So off-chain, what happens? Like you are posting message to the network, you are liking content, you are following somebody. Everything that does not require like crucial consistency. Okay, something is happening. Oops. Yes, posting, so off-chain what happens, like you can post messages, you can follow other people, reacting to posts, everything is not like consistency critical, is happening on this peer-to-peer network. This is the architecture, so how does it work? Maybe let's have a simple way. Accounts, identity are stored on Optimism, around Ethereum L2. Usernames can either be like for custom names or even ENS names, Ethereum name service, and everything is happening on chain in this case. Then we have like some data layer that you can see also here. So there's a network of hubs in the middle layer that is storing all the data, everything happening in the network. And finally, there are client applications, mobile ones, web ones, that are reading this data. There are some examples, like if you don't know where to start. WordCast is the main client, has a good like mobile and web experience. There's Supercast XYZ, it's a web client for Caster power users. Maynard is that like if you are a developer, it's the easiest way to start building new applications of Forecaster, so they offer API services to use. And these are just some screenshots. So this is WordCast, it's my profile. As you can see, yeah, maybe you cannot really see it, but it's Twitter-like client with feed. There are like some channels similar to Reddit. This is Supercast itself, so slightly similar experience, but still like different capabilities. They also have a small component to perform swaps on chain. This is Launchcaster instead, so if you know Product Hunt, it's a place where you can share new product launches. They built it with Forecaster, so somebody decided to create this place where people can publish their new projects. And this is Ampcaster instead, it's a Reddit-like client, so if you like Reddit, subreddits, and upvoting, downvoting content, somebody built an experience like that on top of Forecaster. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to try using Forecaster, I'm not working for Forecaster in any ways, but I'm a big fan, and I can like give you an account. It's like $3-5, like very easy. So, and if you have any question, like happy to answer them also later in the courtyard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Limone.